back on what I was mentioning earlier, and I'd love to hear each of you individually with a simple yes or no so we can kind of get through this. But do you feel that with the increased focus on pronoun training and DEI, that it has made us a more increased lethal and ready force? We'll start with you, Sergeant Major of the Army.
You know, Congressman, it's hard to answer that with a yes or no answer.
Well, how about I'll simplify it. Do you feel that pronoun training translates into increased lethality of our armed forces?
Again, it's really difficult to answer that with yes or no. I can just say that we're stronger and better the more inclusive we are, and it's a testament to see the diversity of this panel.
So when I served with members who were born in Cambodia, lived in California. I served with people who had grown up in bad neighborhoods out of Brooklyn. I had served with people out of Alabama. It was pretty diverse. There was inclusion, and we all considered ourselves to be able to bleed red, white, and blue. I'm curious, you know, because when I walk through Arlington and visit friends of mine, I don't notice that our headstones are actually lined up by race or gender or by what our religious belief is. It's by the battlefields that we were all willing to fight and die together. So I'm curious as to when I talk to people and say, well, why aren't you looking to join the military? A lot of them say, well, the military has been over-politicized. Well, the military has gone woke. Well, the military is now focused on areas that doesn't really focus on what I care about, which is being able to do the things that I said that brought me in, the cool guy videos. You know, the 80% do stuff, 20% how cool does it look, kick doors, jump out of planes, and increase lethality to be able to take it to the enemy. So we're saying that this modification and that this idea that we now have the, you know, because we don't see the recruitment videos that we once saw whenever we all joined in the military. We're saying that this new focus, this new shift, this new kind of woke ideology is not impacting recruitment and not impacting our readiness lethality? I have a hard time believing that. Does anyone want to just address on a yes or no? And I know you, Command Sergeant, you're more than welcome to go ahead.
Sir, I would offer the Air Force does not have pronoun training. And sir, you know, you've asked where you can help us. I would offer, Congressman Mills, where we could use your help is by sharing that message that your services are not focused on any of those such training more than we are on warfighting. That is a fact. I can assure you of that. We have challenges when it comes to quality of life of our airmen. That is not one of them.
And we have not lowered standards in any way to include things such as Ranger School, where certain classes wasn't even carrying their rucks during the mountain phase and things like this. We have maintained standards at all times. Is that what we're saying?
Congressman, yes. We've maintained our standards, and I would say that when I looked at it, there is 1 hour of equal opportunity training and basic training and 92 hours of rifle marksmanship training. And if you go to OSET, there's 165 hours of rifle marksmanship training and still only 1 hour of equal opportunity training.
Well, I can tell you from a person I had served with, one of my first roommates, who ended up going throughout the enlisted ranks all the way through to being a major. He was training over at West Point, and he was teaching squad and platoon tactics for infantrymen. And his class had got bumped because they wanted to introduce a new class, which was called Intro to Transsexuality. Now, I'm not really certain on how that is a priority over platoon tactics or how that in any way increased our lethality and readiness. I can guarantee we have the ability to out-pronoun every one of our enemies, no doubt about it. But if you look at what China, Russia, and others are actually focusing on right now, it is about increased lethality and being able to take it to the West, economically, resource perspectives, militarily, and also making sure that they now have the largest Navy in the world, not us. Just from the rest of the members who haven't answered yet, do you, in that same thing, feel that our priority had shifted somewhat because of the politicization and that we are as ready now in lethality and readiness as we always have been?
Congressman, great question. We're talking about words. There's a word that the ranking member used that I haven't heard yet except from him. It's called patriotism.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let that sink into my verbal, my oral statement. What everyone here has said about propensity, So if we want to focus on words, we probably should focus on words like patriotism.
I agree.
Some of the words we've used here are not words that we regularly use, right? And quite frankly, until we figure out, Congressman Bergman brought this up, his time in the 1980s serving on a certain panel in a study. In the 1980s, we knew who the enemy was, right? Everybody knew who the enemy was. We all talked the same about who the enemy was.
That's right.
That had us who wanted to join the military focused on what our mission was, and it was all based on the protection of the Constitution, period. That's called patriotism. And so we can figure out who meets standards, who does not meet standards, but I can tell you this, and I won't speak for everyone, but in the Marine Corps, we have not lowered a single standard. We will not lower a single standard.
As it should be.
And whoever meets the requirements of becoming a United States Marine will be a Marine, as patriots protecting the Constitution as we swear to. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And with that, I'll go ahead and yield back.